Nobody from my family came to my husband's funeral, not my parents, not my best friend, not a single person I thought I could trust. I stood there alone, holding the cold coffin, feeling all the lies and betrayals crash down on me. Stick with me while I share my story, and if it touches you, don't forget to support our channel by hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like, and sharing it with the people you care about. My name is Clara, and I was married to Jace. We met in college, and I thought he was my forever. But behind the smiles and happy days, secrets were hiding. My parents and my best friend, Tori, secretly disliked him and whispered doubts in my ear. I ignored the signs because I loved Jace. Then one day, he got sick and passed away suddenly. At his funeral, no one showed up except me. I felt hurt, angry, and betrayed. But I realized I couldn't let them control my life. I took control of Jace's estate, exposed their lies, and built a new life. Losing them hurt, but it taught me strength and independence. My name is Clara, I'm 32, and I grew up in a small town in America. I've always been strong, but losing Jace left a hole in me I didn't know how to fill. Jace was 35, charming, and full of mystery. From the moment we met, I felt like we were meant to be. Our romance was fast, full of laughter and late-night talks, and soon we decided to marry. I trusted him completely, believing he was my safe place in the world. Every day felt like a dream. We talked about our future, decorating our home, traveling, and starting a family. I let myself feel happy in a way I hadn't before. Even then, I didn't notice the small things, the secrets he kept, or the subtle hints that life wouldn't always stay perfect. I was ready to build my world with him, unaware of the storms waiting just around the corner. Even though I loved Jace, not everyone around me shared my happiness. My mother, Elaine, never hid her doubts. She believed Jace wasn't the right man for me because of the money problems he had in the past. Her disapproval was quiet but constant, in small comments and worried glances that made me question myself. Then there was Tori, my best friend. She acted supportive, always smiling and nodding, but behind closed doors, she planted little seeds of doubt. She would say things like, "Are you sure he's the one?" or "Sometimes love isn't enough." At first, I ignored it, thinking they only wanted what was best for me. The more I tried to protect my marriage, the more I noticed these cracks in my support system. A small worry here, a quiet criticism there, it was like a hidden storm. I loved Jace too much to let it show, so I kept my trust and my hope alive, even as the shadows crept closer. One evening, while going through some papers, I noticed unusual bank statements and receipts I hadn't seen before. Jace's account showed large amounts of money being moved, and nothing about it made sense. At first, I thought it might be a mistake, but the pattern was too deliberate to ignore. Eventually, I discovered he had been quietly helping a former friend, Ryan, with risky deals that seemed illegal. The realization hit me like a cold wave. Jace had kept this part of his life hidden, and I felt like the ground beneath me was shifting. I wanted to trust him, to believe there was a reasonable explanation, but every proof I found pushed me closer to doubt. Loyalty battled suspicion in my mind, and I didn't know where I stood. For the first time, I felt isolated, unsure if the man I loved was the one I thought I knew, or someone else entirely. My heart ached, but my mind refused to ignore the signs. Out of nowhere, Jace fell seriously ill. The doctors were confused, and the sickness seemed to take him faster than anyone could react. One morning, he was gone, leaving a silence that felt heavier than the world itself. I couldn't believe it. With shaking hands, I arranged the funeral myself, making every decision for him, wanting to honor the life we had shared. I expected at least one familiar face to show up, someone to share the grief, to hold my hand, but no one came. Not my parents, not Tori, not anyone I thought I could count on. As I stood by the coffin, I realized the truth: their absence wasn't an accident. Their quiet wishes for my unhappiness had outweighed any care they might have felt. The betrayal cut deeper than the loss itself. Alone, I grieved Jace, carrying the weight of his death and the cold truth about the people I had once trusted most. After the funeral, the house felt emptier than ever. Days passed in silence, and I found myself alone with my grief, wandering through memories that once felt warm but now only burned. I began sorting through Jace's personal papers, hoping for some comfort, but instead, I found a truth that made my chest tighten. It seemed my family had influenced him in subtle ways, ensuring he left money behind in a manner that limited my control. Their actions were calculated, meant to weaken me even after his death. The realization made me feel trapped, suffocated by their cruelty and the weight of sorrow. Yet, amid the pain, a spark of defiance lit inside me. I opened my journal and wrote down every hurt, every betrayal, and every promise I made to myself. I vowed that no one would ever have power over me again, that grief wouldn't make me small, and that I would rise stronger than the shadow they had tried to cast. After days of reflection, I decided I wouldn't let my loss and their cruelty define me. I started reviewing Jace's estate, learning about assets I never knew existed. Hidden investments and accounts gave me resources I could use to take back control of my life. Each discovery felt like a small victory, a way to reclaim power they thought they had taken from me. During this time, I met Derek, a former colleague of Jace's who had quietly witnessed my family's interference over the years. He shared details about their manipulations and the lies they spread, confirming everything I had suspected. With his help, I began setting things in motion, making careful moves to reveal their deceit without confronting them directly. Bit by bit, their actions backfired. Financial plans they relied on fell apart, and their social standing began to crack. I didn't need anger to fuel me, strategy did. Watching the consequences unfold quietly, I felt a sense of justice I hadn't thought possible. Finally, the day came when I faced Elaine and Tori. I invited them into the living room, where everything felt quiet and tense. I laid out documents, letters, and records, proof of every scheme, every secret move they had made against me and Jace. Their eyes widened as they scanned the evidence, disbelief and shame crossing their faces. I didn't raise my voice or lash out. I stayed calm, steady, and precise, letting the weight of the truth sink in. Each detail, each revelation, landed harder than any argument or insult ever could. Their shock slowly turned to anger, but I remained composed, watching them struggle to maintain control. For the first time, the power had shifted. The people who had tried to manipulate and humiliate me were now exposed, vulnerable, and unsure how to respond. Silence hung between us, louder than any confrontation I could have staged. In that quiet, I realized revenge didn't need noise, it needed patience, precision, and resolve. With the weight of betrayal behind me, I finally began to rebuild my life. I found a home I had always dreamed of, bright, open, and filled with the peace I had longed for. In honor of Jace, I opened a small business, something that would carry his memory and create something lasting from the pain I had endured. I slowly surrounded myself with people who truly cared, friends who supported me without hidden agendas or judgments. For the first time in years, I felt safe, valued, and understood. The emptiness that had haunted me began to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence and a sense of control over my own story. Meanwhile, those who had tried to bring me down faced the consequences of their envy. Their schemes unraveled, their pride shaken. Watching from a distance, I realized that justice didn't always need confrontation. Sometimes, growth, happiness, and resilience are the sharpest form of revenge. For the first time, I felt truly free. Looking back on everything, I can see the path I traveled clearly now. The grief of losing Jace, the sting of betrayal by the people I trusted most, and the slow, careful steps I took to reclaim my life, all of it shaped me. Each painful moment taught me something I couldn't have learned any other way. There were times I felt crushed, moments when despair threatened to take over, but I discovered strength I didn't know I had. Revenge wasn't just about proving them wrong, it was about proving to myself that I could survive, grow, and thrive despite their cruelty. I lost the people I thought loved me, but in their absence, I found myself. I found independence, clarity, and a life I could call my own. Sometimes, the very people you expect to fight for you are the ones who push you to rise stronger, to discover resilience you never imagined, and to finally stand unshakable in your own power. Do you think I did the right thing by standing up and moving on, or should I have given them another chance? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell for more stories.